Welcome to Prompt Me Podcast. I'm Kendra Fair, and my co-host, husband, John Hancock, is traveling, so this will be the first time I'm doing this alone. My guest today is my longtime friend, Melissa Bond. She's the author of the soon-to-be-released book, Blood Orange Night with Simon Schuster. She's a poet, performer, filmmaker, and humanitarian working with issues of creativity, special needs, and prescription pill addiction. Welcome to my dear friend, Melissa, who we go back decades in our creative processes.
Yep.
Let's just talk about creativity. Let's just talk about how you have a book coming out.
I do. Yeah.
With Simon and
Schuster. It's called Blood Orange Night, and it comes out June 14th, 2022. It is a memoir. So
I'm so excited. And you can pre-order that now.
you can. It's on Amazon right now. You can go to the Simon & Schuster website and order from any, platform you want. So, they're pushing it pretty hard. So, and I'm super excited. It was,
I'm super excited
6-7 year
too.
process.
Yeah, I lived through a lot of that with you.
Yes, you did.
We all.
Yeah.
I've known Melissa for a really long time, and we met, I think, in an artist way.
Like a workshop. Like it was up in that loft that our friend Erin had, and we would all gather. There would be 15 of us in a circle in this loft, and we were all young and visionary and artistic and disorganized. And we would get up there and feel very passionate.
Yes, read our works that we did and show our works and write our morning pages.
Yes, write our morning pages.
Which we were just talking about that
Right.
I still do that. You still do that?
Oh, absolutely. Every morning, yeah.
Thank you, Julia Cameron.
I know. I had been a journaler because I'm a writer, but I'd done that since I was, probably, it feels like started when I was maybe 12 and then really kind of hit stride when I was in high school because I'd read this biography by about Jim Morrison, and he carried a journal with him everywhere. So I started carrying a journal with me everywhere. And because of that and his influence, I just journaled every single day and have pretty much done that since.
That is so cool. And I didn't realize we shared a love for Jim Morrison.
We do?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I was in the dance group in high school, and I ended up becoming one of the wild girls because I choreographed music to Jim Morrison's Celebration of the Lizard. Do you remember that?
Yes.
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 Yes. And everyone was doing like Bon Jovi, and I was like, Celebration of the Lizard.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. My sister and I did a little pilgrimage. No, it wasn't my sister. We did a Jack Kerouac pilgrimage.
Oh.
One time up to San Francisco, but we did a pilgrimage
in
to
Paris?
LA.
Oh.
I did go to Paris as well, to his grave, but we went to LA and we went to Whiskey A Go Go and we went to Venice Beach. Like we went everywhere.
To this day, I have a very tender spot in my heart for Jim Morrison.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a sad story.
Yeah. Yeah.
It ended up being, but what a great artist.
Absolutely.
So you carry your journal everywhere and you write.
Yeah. I mean, I write on anything. Like sometimes, when I was a kid, I would write on the mattress, but
that's awesome.
I've got all of these different kinds of notebooks, some that fit in my purse and some that, are by my bedside. And then I have some that are on my desk because wherever I am, if I have an idea, which usually for me, I don't know where it is for you, but a lot of times when I'm in that place where I've created kind of white space for myself, which usually involves either doing yoga or doing some kind of meditation or anything where I'm not actively mentally engaged, that's when the receptivity comes in and I'll get this idea and I want to be able to put it down because it's like this butterfly flying around in my head. And if I don't get it in this little box, I'm going to lose it. So that's what the journals are for.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
As you were saying that, I'm picturing all these journals that you have around.
Yeah.
So how do you pull the pieces together to create a book? Or, I mean, are they all scattered all over? Or do you have
Sometimes, yeah, I mean, I try to, I know that like at any given moment, I have probably 3 or 4 different projects that are in my mind. So I'll try to title them. And so whatever, and it does not always stay super organized. And I have to say, which journal did I put that idea into?
Yeah.
And I don't always find them, but right now I'm thinking about the book that is coming after the one that's going to be published in June. As long as my publishing company is down with it, which I haven't cleared with them, but I think they will be. It's a book of fiction, and I'm writing the last little bit, and I'm just constantly coming up with ideas of, different characters and the complexities that they have. And I just had a character introduced that's in homage to my son, who has Down syndrome and autism. So this character is going to have a very different take on the world, so to speak. And so I try to, I'll just put the character's name, and then the ideas and try to find it that way.
So do you have a book for each, like a journal for each character, or is it all in one?
No, it's usually just wherever, there's like the desk book, and then there's the bedside table book and the purse book, and then the one that's like hidden under the coffee table book. So wherever I'm in the house, I can have it, and I'll just put like, for whatever book it is or whatever character, and I'll put a note by it.
Okay, I'm having this vision of Melissa with all these
All the
notebooks
butterflies.
piled up all over because I
butterflies.
know how much you write and what a
Yes.
great writer you are and a great poet you are.
Thank you.
And I'm just picturing just all these books, and then my mind's going, well, how do you find the piece that you need from that book to put into the story here? And then what if you can't find? My organizational mind is going, what?
Yeah.
How does it work?
Yeah,
So-
I mean, there is a bit of trust to it as well, like there's so many ideas that come in. Like I imagine with a painting for you, there's so many ideas, and I have to kind of trust that whatever really is important will stick, and I'll find it. And when I get to actually sit down and incorporate those elements, they'll be there,
Yeah.
So, but it's always churning, it's always like at the back of my mind. And so when I create that white space, those elements come in. They're like, little visitors that come in and knock on the door.
And they just show up, and you've done this as long as I've known you.
Yeah.
You're constantly writing.
Yeah.
You've already talked a little bit about the ritual that gets you to that sometimes is by creating that white space and
Right.
being quiet and still. And then it also sounds like it constantly comes to you, though, throughout the day, too, which is why you have all these notebooks.
Right.
So I think part of us creating this podcast was just this curiosity about how do people actually get to that place of creating. And I was thinking today, too, about being a creative person. You really have to be a person that's okay with risk because it's not a
So well
stable
said.
job.
Right. You don't get that paycheck at the end of the week.
Yeah,
And the
it's
pat
not
on the
a
head.
stable job, and you're
Right.
not getting health insurance and retirement. And so
Right.
there's this element, there's a part of you that has to be okay with risk.
Right. Right.
And
And the
with-
unknown.
Yeah, the
A
unknown.
lot of unknown.
And to put it out in the world, and that's so it's very vulnerable. And
Yep.
I know this book that you're putting out does come from it.
Exceptionally vulnerable.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's the last thing I wanted to write.
Yeah.
Was a memoir. It's the last thing I would have imagined. But
Do you want to talk a little bit about what the book is right now, just so somebody listening to this?
yeah, sure. I mean, because I'm going to have to practice. So I'm going to practice with you.
Perfect.
I'm supposed to get my one-liner down. And I'll say that I started off, the one-liner was that it's a memoir about insomnia, prescription pills, and the unbridled love of a little boy with Down syndrome, which I would say is still very true. It is also a book that is very much, when I was trying to categorize, I knew it was a memoir. It was a memoir about me becoming profoundly dependent upon the benzodiazepine called, if you think benzos, it's a family of drugs that include like The familiar ones are Xanax, Klonopin, Valium, the mother's little helpers, which I had no idea when I was prescribed. I was in a state of pathological insomnia. My doctor was afraid I was going to have a psychotic break. It was a really bad sort of hormonal reaction to my pregnancy, and a doctor put me on benzos and said, these are sedative hypnotics. You'll be fine. There's no risk with these at all. There is a risk that you're going to lose your mind if you don't sleep more than an hour a night. And
to mention here, I'm just going to interject. You had 2 babies.
Right.
Under the age of 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you had Cassius, who has Down syndrome and autism. And then you had your
Another
daughter.
little baby. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you weren't sleeping. You had 2 babies under 2.
2 babies
and
under 2.
I remember you were just desperate and exhausted.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. And, for when I was researching the book, I was like, okay, I had never been through insomnia like that before. So anyone out there that's been through periods of insomnia, which there are a lot of us, we have different health issues or stressors, and you go 1 or 2 nights without sleeping and you are a wreck. Your ability to think clearly, your physical sensitivity gets really high, and there's a feeling of desperation. I'll do anything. And this went on for months and months and months. And so it made me a perfect candidate for being receptive to a doctor who I trusted, saying, take these, they will help. And I did. And 6 months in, taking them day after day after day, I had lost 20% of my body weight. I couldn't walk a straight line. I couldn't remember one thing from one day to the next. I was having tremors. I was having what I know now are called withdrawal tolerance symptoms. So I was on a very heavy dose, and I'm having active drug withdrawals because my brain is metabolizing the drug so fast it needs another hit just to stay normal. So I'm actively withdrawing from a drug that I'm on. And as a yoga loving, juicer, rock climbing artist, I was shocked to find myself in that position. And so the book is about the path of me kind of falling into that hole and then realizing, oh my God, I'm so deep in this hole, and there are no doctors that I can find that can figure out how to get me out.
Yeah.
And how I got out, and then so it's my story, but it's also the story of, we have all been through crises. We have all been through trauma. And I think we really figure out what we're made of when we go through that. And it's just, I really learned a massive lesson about the inner strength I have, and the inner strength, when I meet other people that have been through that kind of dark night, there's such a sense of respect and honor. And so for me, it's my story, but it's also like an archetypal story of, going into those dark woods and getting really lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
And finding your way out.
And I remember at that time, all doctors were giving everybody this all the time.
Yeah.
It seems like everybody I knew
was on them.
Xanax or, any of those.
Yeah.
And I remember also, what a pillar of strength you are, because I remember you going out and so actively searching for ways to get off of that, because nobody even seemed to know at that time. And you had to really dig deep to find how to do that and to do it safely, because to just go cold turkey
could be fatal.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one thing they could tell me, was they were like, we don't really know how to get you off safely. You're definitely going to go through horrific withdrawals, but we don't want to damage your brain. And so the only thing we can tell you is go really slow, but don't cold turkey, because you will die. And so to me, that was like a definite miss in the medical establishment, to have these incredibly powerful, very effective drugs, and at the same time to have them to have this dark underbelly of them potentially being so damaging as to make my life one of very radical and fast disability. Barely able to walk a block, much less take care of my children. I mean, it was, and I've got a child with special needs, and I can barely hold my kids. So, so I worked with the doctor for, I think, 4 to 6 months. She finally was able to say, and I praise her for this. She said, I have no idea how to get you off these things. You are suffering such radical withdrawals. And when I say that, I mean like seizures. I had a stroke one night after trying to cut my dose. I mean, these are massive brain events. And so she was looking through her whole network countrywide, and I looked for people that knew specifically about these drugs because there's so little research that's done in the U.S. And so you're right. I mean, I was bound and determined because I was just suffering. I mean, I was not going to live a life of disability and see my kids, not have me there. I just refused to believe that was going to be my story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's more knowledge about it now? Do you feel like that now there's more awareness around it?
We're like slowly edging up. Like, it was interesting when I first started talking about it, people were like, what? Like, why would you ever want to get off? Like you don't get off those things. Like you get on, but you don't. It's like the Hotel California, like, and so I, then it felt like people were becoming very aware of the opioid crisis. And I remember thinking and talking with one psychiatrist in particular who knew a lot. And he said, oh, yeah, we're 10 years behind in our awareness of benzodiazepines, of where we are with opioids. Like all of a sudden, everyone was like, oh, my gosh, opioids, the potential for addiction is so horrific. And I feel, it really has been almost 10 years since, it's been about 10 years since I first started actively withdrawing, which is in 2012. And now there is this rising tide of awareness that, oh my gosh, like these things you can get on, but you can never leave, and if you get on, you can slide into this disability where you're having symptoms that mimic like Crohn's disease, or I thought I had a brain tumor, honestly. I was like, I either have MS or a brain tumor because the neurological symptoms are so dispersed and widespread and hard to track. And that's what makes it so scary. Like the way I've described the difference between opioids and benzos is opioids are like the radical fear is of someone overdosing. Right? And you just have respiratory distress and they stop breathing, and that's the end. So they are like the fire that consumes your house. Benzos are the thief that steals everything you own a piece at a time. So you slowly are losing this sense of yourself and you don't know what's happening.
Wow.
That's the scary part. Yeah. The good thing is that I'm on the other side of it.
Yes.
I'm on the other side of it, and I can now help people and help them. I even identify, like, wow, these weird symptoms you're having, are those symptoms of like some weird neurological disorder, or could it be the medication that you're on? Mm-hmm. And for me, some of the, we were talking earlier about self-care, and I had always been really interested in yoga and sort of Eastern philosophies and healthcare. And so now those things have become like a toolkit for my health and my self-care that I absolutely have to pay attention to because my like nervous system really never will be the same. Like it took a hit, but you age and we all have things that have an impact, but I think I have such an acute sensitivity now because if I don't use that self-care toolkit, I get an immediate repercussion, and it will always and forever be insomnia. Like I know
Yeah.
if I'm not sleeping or if I get like fire all over my skin, which is one of the withdrawal symptoms, I know, wow, like my self-care has not been enough or my stress is too high and I really have to take care of myself or it's just going to get worse.
Yeah. I'm listening to you and I'm hearing like a couple things that are interesting. My first thought is how you were able to really take this really hard, awful experience and create it and turn it into this work of art, so there's
Mm-hmm.
that piece of it, of your artistic creative self
Yeah,
finding this and taking this story and molding it into something to give to the world, this gift of here is an experience and I hope it helps you, and here's, so there's that piece.
absolutely.
I'm also hearing the piece about the self-care
Mm-hmm.
being so huge in that for everything for you. So it sounds like
Mm-hmm.
that feels like that is kind of where your creative spark in everything, in your healing, in your writing, and everything is this really important piece of being aware of your body, your health, your needs. We were speaking earlier before we start recording about being a mom of these two kids,
Right.
and you trade off with your ex-husband, but how focused and how much energy and how do you keep, I said, how do you keep yourself going during that with that too?
Right.
So
Right.
that's is that part of the book as well? Do you talk about that at all in the book?
That's a
His
good
daughter?
question. I mean, I think so. What I would speak to about the book, I think the self-care, what I learned, that whole part when you fall on your face in the dirt and you're like, do I have the strength to get back up? Like, I've tried to liken it to like it's even more than like an ultra marathon. It just takes. It was remarkable because I felt so stripped down of every possible identity. Like I couldn't write anymore because my writing was so scrawly. I would still try to write, but if I look at it now, it's wild. Like it's all across the page and I couldn't form the circles because I would have tremors. And so the writer in me, I could still type, so I was able to still like kind of get morning pages out. And keep track of what was happening day to day. But it like the creative part of me felt so dampened. So I lost to some degree, the writer, the creative part. That's when I got much more visual, like the creative part of me was really like the lifeblood. And I think if that died, then I really would have died.
Yeah.
But even the mother, like I really, we had to put the kids in like a daycare program because I would just be having such active withdrawals that I couldn't take care of them the way they needed to be taken care of. I had lost my job as a magazine editor in the recession. So like that part of my identity had been stripped away. So I think what was left is what I'm bringing forward now, which is this remarkable awareness of why do I have such a creative impulse? Like, what is that,
Yeah.
And I think it's alive in everybody and it just manifests in different ways. But for me, part of my healing was every single day and every moment, honestly, it was the most profound spiritual practice I've ever been in because it was like an instant feedback system. If I would be sitting there, I remember, like holding my son. He's a blondie with like these ice blue eyes and really, really blonde eyebrows. And I would hold him in the mornings and my body would be on fire and I would have this like nausea and this pulsing headache and I would be holding him and I would train my attention to look for what was beautiful. Every moment I was like, because if I don't, I'm going to get swallowed up. The experience I'm having in my body, is going to be so overwhelming. And then in my mind as well, there was a lot of like swinging emotionally that I really had to like navigate. It was truly like being on this like emotional sea where you never know when you're going to get hit by a wave. So I would, wherever I was trying to look out and find the beauty. And I think that's the creative in me, and that's the poet in me. And now that's the piece that has like broadened into this beautiful practice of what feels good in my body. Where's the beauty in my body? Like every day, what feels good? What practices nourish? What are food? And what are the things that don't nourish? And that beauty aspect has become this like idea around how I take care of myself and how I take care of the world and the people that I love. And also what I want to offer to the world. I want to offer those things which are generative and beautiful and, inspirational and juicy. Yeah. Because that's what saved me.
What a great lesson for anybody to walk away with that, to find the beauty in the world. Because as you were talking about the waves crashing down and stuff, like our world is that right now.
Our world is that.
Our world is waves crashing down that we never expected, and you get starting to go one way, and then the wave comes, and you have to move another way. And if we could stop and see the beauty in those things, and I think that is such a great lesson for everybody.
Yeah,
to walk away with.
Yeah, and we had talked about a little earlier with COVID, and COVID-19, and then the variants that have come out. And now we're in this real huge spike of Omicron, and this sense of if people had not had a real robust way of taking care of themselves prior to the pandemic, that lack of self-care is going to be amplified and is going to have a much more intense, and they're going to feel that stress. But I think of it as like a muscle. You really have to practice and train your emotions and your attention in such a way that you really feed yourself in a good way. Mm-hmm. And for a while, we can all get away with like being kind of sloppy in our thinking and our self-care. But boy, this pandemic has really, it's squeezed us all. Yeah. And so it's a great opportunity, as challenging as it is. And I know it's much more challenging for people, with lots of different circumstances. I mean, I have 2 kids, but I work from home, so I have a tremendous benefit there. There's some people that are working outside of the home. I mean, everyone has their own like constellation of what's so hard, and you have to identify that and then say, okay, how can I make this better for myself so I can work in this circumstance? What do I need to do to pivot here or here to see the beauty and to take care of myself? Mm-hmm.
As we were talking earlier, I know for me, I found walking. I have to walk every day. It's kind of that just being outside and moving, and that became a really a real clear thing for me up front with this pandemic. Like, I have to do this every day. I've got to get out of the house. I've got to do this. But some people aren't in a place where they could do that, or, but yeah, self-care, I think that's a really important piece for creativity for the pandemic.
Yeah, it's funny because we have that, like the food pyramid, which we know is totally outdated, or we have like the Abraham Maslow, they have this idea of like human needs, and I think everyone needs to build their own pyramid of like, what do I need to be able to like move to a higher level? Like, okay, I need safety, security, I need food, I need these things. And then what do I need personally to really feel safe and heartful, and to be able to move up sort of the chain of my own like creative and spiritual sort of little trajectory, and having attention to that and figuring that out is part of being human, I think.
Yeah.
And this pandemic has just sort of shoved us all really intensely in that direction, or not. If we don't have that kind of already, that mindset, we might be fumbling a little bit and trying to find it.
Yeah. And I think as you're talking about that, I'm thinking about too, so people that maybe don't see themselves as creative, and you had mentioned before, I think we all do have it. And I agree. I think that's partly why we started this podcast, is
Right.
because I'm like, we're all creative, whether we want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
The person that is creating a business is a creative piece, or creating the space in your home and what you choose to hang, that's creative, or, food and what you throw into that.
Yeah.
So we all have these creative pieces, but so many people will say, oh, I'm not creative. I can't do anything. But you are.
Yes.
You are all creative, and you're all doing that. And I think what I'm hearing from you that is really important is that it just keeps coming back to this place of nurturing and self-care.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that is what is for you. It sounds like the piece that brings that out and allows you to do that. Because I think a lot of people have a hard time indulging in their creativity.
Oh, and it's so funny because I love that word indulgence. That is totally my, and I got to go.
Okay, so as we're wrapping up here, because Melissa has an appointment to get to.
I have a self-care appointment.
A self-care appointment. And we will have her back for sure, especially when the book comes out and maybe sooner.
Yeah.
But what I would like to ask is if you can leave a prompt for our listeners so they can take this little creative seed and create something with it.
Oh, absolutely. So, we've talked so much about beauty and looking for the beauty wherever you are. And so I want to play with that prompt, and it can be literally anything, because for me, to see the beauty requires attention. It requires attention, and it doesn't have to be a beautiful thing. It can be something that is not so beautiful. And there's an act of investigation and of love and of attention. And so however you pick something and explore it with every part of you, whether you want to write about it, if you want to paint about it, if you want to sketch it, if you want to, write little phrases, but really explore it with every facet you can and try to fall in love with it. And that alone is a practice that is so beautiful. Like, I'm looking at these curtains in front of me. They're like this, I don't know, kind of cocoa colored, rayonish, and they've got this light coming through, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, oh my God, these are like, they look like they could either be skin or they could be leather. They look like something super light I would want to put around me. And I mean, I could stare at these things for an hour, easy, and be enraptured. And it's that sense of rapture that I would look for you to play with.
Perfect. What a wonderful gift to walk away from. With
so
this.
Fun. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Melissa, for
really
being
fun.
here. And we will come back because I really want to have you read some of your poems.
Oh, I would love to.
Be sure to pre-order Blood Orange Night and follow Melissa at melissabond.com and on Instagram at melissabauthor. Links to both of those are in the show notes. As always, be sure to post and tag us at Prompt Me Podcast to share what Melissa's prompt has inspired in you. Without further ado, go find some beauty in this moment.